Hello everyone, welcome back. It's been a while since I've made a video. We were off on our honeymoon, getting married, traveling across Europe. Yeah, you can see the rings there. Yep, it focused. And now we're back and we're gonna have some of those fun conversations that newly married people get to have with their spouse. And that means we got to talk about money. If you know me, you know I love talking about money. I made a lot of videos on the channel. She knows it too. You can see the look on her face. She's like, yeah, he does. But we recently combined bank accounts and I wanted to have a budget conversation. And so as we were approaching that, Grace had some ideas. So I'm gonna let her share the way that she wanted us to do our budget. And yeah, why don't you talk about that a little bit?
My idea was that we would kind of make our own budgets separately and then compare how they work. That way we can see what each person's starting off point is. And honestly, I think it was a good tactic because we really were pretty similar across the board. There were maybe 4 or 5 categories that were different by a lot. A lot of the other ones like differed maybe like $50, maybe even $100, but like we're pretty relatively close where it was a quick, easy, like collaborative effort that we just changed the number and went kind of in the middle. I just thought it was good because that way we could both feel heard, and then there was a little bit of pushback on both sides.
Yeah, I think in general we were pretty aligned, which was nice. And there were a few things that we saw differently. My initial budget was a little more rigid, I would say. Yours was a little more spendy. And when I say spendy, just so you guys know, Grace is very frugal. She's very budget conscious. I just try to invest as much as possible. And I think us coming together and understanding what would be that trade-off between investing for the future but also enjoying life today was part of the conversation. So I'm curious if you're going to change anything that we did in our process, what that would be.
2 things. Number 1, I would have done it we kind of did it on pen and paper. I would have done it on like Excel or somewhere that can do a running total because we kept having to be like, oh, add these up. And then I would give the numbers in like random order because I didn't want him to know what categories I was doing for what. But then he would add it up and we'd be like, oh, we have this $1,600 we haven't assigned anywhere, or something like that. And so I would just make sure that we were doing something where there is a running total option, keep it easier. That would have went a little quicker too. And number 2, I would have finalized that we had the same categories. Like we each missed little categories that were like obvious, and like I just didn't think about it. Like I didn't think about the money he puts away for life insurance, and he didn't think about gifts, like what we budget for gifts for people. And so we both just kind of like missed little categories. Obviously we differed on some categories, and that was to be expected because it's like I thought some things deserved a category and he didn't. But once we like came together, we both were like, oh, well, those are 2 categories we just didn't even think of adding. Mm-hmm. Is there anything you would have changed?
No, but what I got from that is, I have life insurance now, so if I die, we know who did it.
Well, I've known for a while.
No, I like the way that we did it. I think, again, I would use Excel and I would give us each our own sheet instead of writing them down because that was a little tedious.
Yeah.
I also think I would look at, we use Rocket Money to track our spending before the wedding. And I think I would look at those categories and align on categories first.
Yeah, that's like what I said.
Yeah, so pretty much the same as what she said.
And that's good. See, we agree.
No, yeah, we're on the same page, which is nice. So I guess we talk about being on the same page on our spending and on our categories. I'm curious, obviously we have different financial goals. What do you think of your financial goals? Like, what are they, and how do you think those compare to the ones we've talked about for me in the past?
I think to say we have different financial goals would be an overstatement. It's not that we have different financial goals. I just don't think about my future goals in the financial sense. Like I realize that there are cause and effects when it comes to finances with what the future can hold, but that's not where my brain goes. And I love that that's where your brain goes because one of us has to be the responsible one in terms of finances. Like it's good that you're planning for both of us. And I'm all for planning. I just kind of need to walk through it, right? Like I don't need you to hold my hand, but I just need you to be like, oh, it's a good idea if you would put in something, money in one of these. So like the Roth IRA, I started, honestly, once we started dating, between you and my sister, I was getting hounded to start one for months and months. So, no, it's not that I have different goals. It's just I don't think of everything financially.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Anything else?
Yeah, I think one of the big changes or big differences between yours and mine is because both of us would like to be financially independent or basically into a place where we don't have to work.
Yeah.
I think sometimes for you, you know that, well, like when we have kids, you won't need to work, I'll work, and you could stay home if you want. I don't really have that option. And so I think putting more away for the future is something that I prioritize a little bit more than you do, because you know that I'll be able to work and you'll still be able to have that.
Yeah, I think I take it a little for granted.
Yeah.
Because that is what happens in my mind. I do expect him to work, and then I will spend more time with the kids.
Yeah.
But
And I don't know if you guys can hear, our dog wants to get into the studio right now, and she is whining up a storm.
yeah, should we let her in?
We can let her in.
Okay.
Anyway, so I think the next part of that is we talk about financial goals a lot, and one of the things that I always ask you to do, and I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on, is how you feel about the books that I ask you to read, like Set for Life, Rich Dad Poor Dad, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, because there are a bunch of these that I've talked about, and I know that you're not a huge reader, so I'm curious what you think about that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge reader. And as you do know, I attempted to read. I'm not going to say which one of those. I got probably 20 pages in, and I fell asleep every time I went to read it. I did read it a lot at night because that's the time I had available to read. I'm willing to try again. It's just, I just don't really enjoy reading in general. I know it's going to be beneficial. I just have to get through it. But I will read one of those at least.
I think
maybe all three, but I can't guarantee anything in the next 5 to 6 months.
I think maybe trying to read during the day versus in bed at night might be
I know,
a good
but
step
like
to
I
not
was
falling
busy.
asleep. So, I mean, yeah. That's
But I
true.
will try. I'll try to do like 10 minutes here and there.
I like that.
I didn't promise. I just said I'll try.
No, I know. I like that. And just so everyone is aware, the reason this is important to me and the reason I ask her to do these things is because I feel really strongly about our financial alignment. And if you look at the reason that marriages fell in general, you're going to see 4 or 5 big reasons. So those are lack of family support, lack of intimacy, too much conflict, and then financial stress. So financial stress, I think, can lead to those other things where you're fighting about money. The fights lead to lack of intimacy, or like, you know, you're not there financially and your family's tired of it, and it kind of creates conflict with your family too. And so I think for us to be set up for success over the long haul, it's really important that we align financially and that we're on the same page and we have the same goals. I think it's good for us and our future family and our kids and stuff.
I concur. I don't disagree. I think I think we do align a lot. It's just, like I said, mine is more interpersonal focus and yours is more financially focused. And honestly, they do overlap pretty well.
Yeah.
And they do make sense. It's just, I think that's just the hard part. We view the goals differently, but they do overlap and they work. So I do think it's good conversations to have. And I mean, we were lucky because we've been having these conversations since we started dating.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
that's helpful.
And I think the framework was a good way to have other serious conversations as we go forward, where we both compose our thoughts ahead of time, we come together and discuss. So that way it highlights what's important to you and what's important to me, and then we can come up with a good path forward.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know, money talk is hard. Well, and there's a difference between doing the talk and then actually like walking the walk. And so we are new after post talk, and so really June is going to be the first month that we really hit the ground running to walk the walk in which we talked.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to be using Rocket Money. So I would recommend, if you're going to do something like this, just to give you an overview of our process, we tracked our spending for a couple months because we wanted things to be realistic. Then we labeled our categories. We did them independently. We came together, and then we linked all of our accounts to Rocket Money. I'm sure you guys have seen ads for it. This isn't one, but it's nice because it just automatically puts all of our expenses in, and then we can categorize and see what money is going where without very much effort. So,
and it was helpful. It's been a weird time for us in terms of Rocket Money between the wedding and the honeymoon, because that's just thousands of dollars that are not going to be repeated expenses. So
right, but now they're done. So
now they're done.
Yep. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you decide to use this method with your partner, and yeah, I wish you the best of luck on your financial journey.
Good luck.
Peace.